everyone, and welcome to another episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling video podcast here on YouTube. As you know, I'm attempting to go into some other areas to try to broaden the audience, but also if you're on YouTube, if you are liking the content, by all means, make sure you do hit the subscribe button if you do want to keep getting content like this, if you're liking what you're seeing. But let's get away from all that. I usually don't like to shield too much. We'll get right into it. This episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle is for WWE Smackdown Live on July 18th, 2017. This was the final show going into Battleground, and you know what? It's really hard to say here. I did not really care too much for this particular SmackDown in certain facets of it. They did, we'll just go as they go through the entire thing here. You had Jinder Mahal start off the show. He was basically cutting a promo about the Punjabi prison match. You had the Singh brothers and him kind of explain the rules, because we hadn't seen one for a very long time. So they kind of, they go through the rules of the match, like based off of, when they basically say whenever a competitor asks for a door to be opened, it opens up, and they have 60 seconds to get out of it. If they don't, it shuts, only to never be reopened again. So you have that aspect of everything to go along with it. And the aspect is to, of course, get out of both of the cages that are via bamboo, or their description of the Punjabi prison to begin with. So it's cage within a cage, but no roof. So it's not like the Camel from Hell match. Yeah. But after he cuts the promo on Randy Orton, everything in that sense, Randy Orton comes out and he interrupts to cut his own promo. And I thought this was a very effective promo from Randy Orton. The aspect of him walking down to the ringside area as he's cutting the promo, climbing the Punjabi prison each rung up, and then doing his bit up at the top. I thought it was a very effective promo, and I liked what they were doing. It probably went on a little bit too long, a little bit longer than what they really should have. But I think it was effective for what they needed to do, and I thought it was at least decently done. And like I said, I like that image of Orton climbing the outer structure to continually explain what he's going to do to Jinder Mahal in the match as well. Like I said, with promo-wise, I think Orton's come off really well during this program against Jinder Mahal. It seems like he's more into it than he has been in certain other programs in the past, and then you see that in his mannerisms and his actions. So this leads to the first match of the night, which was Jimmy Uso going up against Kofi Kingston. I thought this was a good match. These two worked a pretty good match with each other, and it came off as good back and forth throughout the entire match. It ended with Jimmy Uso getting the win by reversing a crossbody off the top rope. So basically giving the Usos some momentum going into the actual pay-per-view itself. So you have something a little bit more to grasp onto, and maybe even say maybe the New Day wins it. I don't know. We'll see where they go with it on Sunday. So up next you had Shane McMahon backstage, and he was with all 5 of the women in the women's elimination match for the for number 1 contendership. And basically everybody's kind of going on this aspect. They all want to fight that night, but they all want to fight with Lana, with the exception of Tamina, because apparently those two are together. So eventually Natalya kind of talks it into being Becky Lynch versus Charlotte, because Charlotte goes off and says, well, we would want competition, and I've beaten Becky in pretty much every match we've been in. So of course Becky doesn't like that, anything to go along with it. Shane then agrees and goes off and makes that match for later on in the evening. Like I said, there's a lot of talk in this particular show of SmackDown. Not too much in the terms of matches in that sense of it, but a lot of talk. Up next, again, another talking segment. Yeah, Chad Gable basically was cutting an interview on what he's going to be doing now that Jason Jordan's on Raw, and doing the whole he now being, you know, Kurt Angle's son and everything in that sense. And it was a decent enough interview segment that kind of basically also says, like, American Alpha's done with, and I'm going to be on my own. So no new tag team partner or anything in that sense. So it's just going to be Chad Gable here down the line. So this leads actually into Mike Kanellis versus Sami Zayn. That's right. They don't even advertise Mike Kanellis' first match on the main roster or anything in that sense. It was just kind of, here it is, match time, go. Which was actually a pretty good match between both of them. You could tell that Mike and Maria are digging the characters and they really want to get this one over. And again, I thought both these guys worked a really good match. With Maria getting involved in the end when it looked like Sami was going to go for the Helluva Kick, she gets in the way of leading to Mike Kanellis being able to deliver a shocking punch to Sami Zayn into like a. It starts off as like a Death Valley driver, but it turns into like a Michinoku driver move to finish off the match. And actually, I think they may mention that they are going to have another match at the pay-per-view itself, so they are at least advertising a match with him. So, up next was John Cena's promo on the flag match, Rusev, everything in that sense. And this is one of those bits that, yeah, they went a little far with this one. Cena's, good with the microphone, and you could tell the crowd was getting behind it to a certain degree, but like for me watching on TV, it's like, yeah, they went a little far with their descriptions of what this particular match was. Yes, it's a flag match, and the person gets to wave their flag with pride, everything in that sense if they end up winning. But the descriptions that Cena was kind of giving, like with stuff like Pearl Harbor attacks, and then even the trade towers, I think they went a little far with this particular promo, and it kind of just turned me away from really. I won't say not caring, but it's like I didn't really like where they were going with it. Cena delivered it great. Let's not get that wrong. He delivered it great, but I think in the terms of the content that it was given, they went a little far with that one, and I was not particularly a fan of that. Rusev, after the promo, does attack Cena, and you get this great little spot where Rusev has Cena in the Accolade, and Cena tries to fight out, but Rusev fights him back down and lays him out, and then, of course, gloats with his flag up at the entrance ramp to go along with it. That portion was alright. Kind of played off of what everything was going off of. I wasn't a big fan of mainly the promo beforehand, but is what it is, and that's what they were trying to go with, and the crowd did seem to be really getting behind it to go along with it. So, yeah, that was what it was there. Right after this, you had a quick backstage segment with Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, them talking about doing quick talk about the tag team match later that night. It's like, should we strategize? Nah, we don't need to strategize. We know what we need to do in this particular match. And then Shinsuke Nakamura goes like, he looks at the U.S. title, looks at AJ, he's like, one day you'll call and I will answer. So again, teasing for a Shinsuke Nakamura AJ Styles match, which we want to see at some point in time. And whether it be SummerSlam, whether it be WrestleMania, either one, we want to see that match. At least I want to see that match again. I did get to watch the Wrestle Kingdom match from before they came over to the WWE. It's a really good match. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. So after that, you had Charlotte versus Becky Lynch, and this was a really good match. This was a really good match between both competitors, both Charlotte and Becky Lynch here. They came off really well in this match, working together well inside of the match. They never really they played it off as a complete babyface match where they were just trying to win with their particular moves, but they didn't really ever go heelish at any given point in time during the match, which does eventually lead to Becky dodging a moonsault from Charlotte, and then getting her in the disarmor, and then after Charlotte tried to get out a couple times, she ends out having to tap out to the disarmor. And what was a really good match, just a fun match between all sides there, in that sense of everything. As my phone went off real quick, I have no idea what that was. Let me check real quick. Nothing big. Don't worry about it. That's one of those don't worry about it moments, and we have a and we have a little interruption and everything. But after the match, Lana and Tamina come out. And this actually prompts Natalya to get up from commentary, because she was down on commentary the entire time, and they attack both Becky Lynch and Charlotte. But afterwards, they lay out Natalya as well, and Lana and Tamina are basically the ones left standing. So you can definitely tell that they are working together, and I don't know where they're going to go with this on Sunday, but it could be a portion where it's like Tamina takes out everybody and then decides to lay down for Lana. I don't know where they're going to go with that, but it'll be an interesting one to see where they go. This actually leads to a promo from Naomi, who basically cuts a quick promo about that match coming up Sunday. Says that she would be the first one out there to shake their hand, and then she gets interrupted by Carmella, who basically just reminds her that she's got the Money in the Bank briefcase, and wherever Naomi goes, she's going to go, and basically teasing a potential cash-in. So, right before the main event, they got to the Fashion X-Files, the Truth Is Not H episode. So it was the X-Files episode and everything in that sense. I thought this was good. I love their bulletin board, and the first thing that you read is like the first thing that they have is a picture of a UFO, and it says, "I want to leave." It's just, the bulletin board is just chock full of references, and they're really good references to a lot of different things. I thought that was a good one. They basically were going through a typical X-Files episode where you have Mulder and Scully. I believe Scully being played by Tyler Breeze, and Mulder, if I remember the characters properly, being played by Fandango, and Scully was going to like, there's no such thing as ghosts or aliens, everything in that sense. And they start making, and then noises start getting played. It's like, and then they basically go to a curtain, and it's like, see, it's just in English warming up. Good stuff. It wasn't. It probably was not their best, but this was still good stuff from all sides. They do have their horse got destroyed by whomever did this to them, and yeah, they basically left a note for Battleground. So this leads to everyone believing now. Don't get me wrong, they did this at Money in the Bank, and it just led to the Ascension wanting a match on pay-per-view. But this could lead into either, I guess, us figuring out who did everything in that sense to Fandango and Tyler Breeze, attacking Tyler Breeze, trashing the office, destroying the horse and everything to go along with it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because a lot of people were thinking it was going to be American Alpha, but now they've split them up. They're like Jason Jordan's over on Smackdown, Chad Gable's on Raw. Now, granted, it could just be one of them now if they're really going heel with anybody, or they could be bringing somebody up from NXT, or maybe they're taking somebody over from Raw. Maybe a team is coming over from Raw to SmackDown in that one. My thought process, if they do something like that, would be the Club. But we'll see where they go with it. Maybe it ends up being the Hype Bros in the end, and both Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder go heel or something in that sense. Who knows? We'll see where they go with it. So this leads into the main event of the night, which was Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles going up against Kevin Owens and Baron Corbin. What I thought was a pretty good match. They had a brawl at the beginning of it, where again Baron Corbin tries to attack Shinsuke Nakamura during his entrance. Shinsuke kind of fends them off, and then Kevin Owens comes out, and then AJ Styles eventually meets them all there, and they eventually get into the ring afterwards. Decent start to the match. I thought the match overall was pretty... It was a decent match, but we're kind of getting to this point. It's like, let's take these feuds and mash them together into a tag team match and then go. So that was kind of the only downside with this one. You have Owens and Corbin go over the end where it looked like Styles was going to go for a Styles Clash on Baron Corbin. He eats a super kick and a pop-up powerbomb to finish off the match. It was a good tag team match, but it just falls under that aspect. It's like, oh, we're going to take both these feuds and just mesh them together, and we'll make a tag match out of it. So they've been doing that the last couple weeks. You do it so many times, then it starts getting like a little mundane and everything in that sense, but we'll see if they continue doing stuff like that down here in the future, going into SummerSlam or anything to go along with that, because we've been getting a lot of these like kind of dream team matchups with everyone's feuds, where like Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles team up, or Cena and Styles team up, or something in that sense of everything. Don't get me wrong, good match, but you don't want to see that every single time with everything. They can probably do things a little bit differently in that one. So, overall this week, I wasn't the biggest fan of SmackDown this week. There was a lot of talk. Now, don't get me wrong, it was the final episode going into a pay-per-view, and those usually are a little bit more of a talk-based shows, but it felt more so this time around. I don't know why. Maybe it was just because I was kind of turned off of the Cena promo and everything in that sense. Like I say, he delivered it well, but it was like, yeah, you went a little far with that. I didn't really like that to go along with it. So maybe that's kind of why I felt that way. Overall, I didn't really care for this particular SmackDown going into the pay-per-view all that much this time around, but that is what it is in that one. Hopefully Battleground ends out turning out to be a good one, and we'll see how everything goes out for that. And that's pretty much everything I got for SmackDown this week. So I thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, and have a great rest of your day.